Hey friends, all right, so I'm going to bust out with a little bit of information here really quickly, and I think you're going to love it. So, this is what it comes down to big data. We all know that big data is revolutionizing how humans are making decisions in the world. Big data is allowing people to look at information that is available and using that information for making better decisions, essentially. And so, when humans and you and I make better decisions, our lives are typically better. Like we are happier, and we give more. We're more serving for other people. We emotionally feel better. We have a smile on our face, a hip to our step. We dance to our step. Just it's life is a little bit more enjoyable, and I think when humans continue to make better decisions, and they continue to focus on getting the information that is required to make better decisions, their lives are better. So, what happened to me when I started using information to make better decisions for my life and my business? One was a time tracking software. It helped me identify where I spend my time. When I started realizing the places that I spend my time, I didn't know necessarily I spent my time, all that time there. And it's scary to me to know that I spent thousands and thousands of hours in email just this year. it's it saddens me to know that I spent so much time on Facebook and not enough time outside. So I started setting up alarms and triggers to say, hey, Ryan, you spent too much time in email. Get the hell out of there. I started spending more time in the world. I started focusing on things that I needed in my life: more exercise, better nutrition, fun friends. And because I work all the time, right? So I'm a workaholic, so I have to balance that out a little bit, because what I do is this is how my health is in my life. I whoosh, go on the incline, I work my butt off for 3, 4 days, 5 days, maybe 7 days stretch, maybe 2 weeks even. Heck, I've even done a month. Um, and then crashing. Those peaks and the valleys, the bubbles and the bursts. Okay? But what would happen if I had a tool, or I had tools set up to know that, hey, Ryan, your stress levels are going up, your oxygen levels are depleting, your nutritional value is lower, your feces, you're not digesting food enough, fast enough, or better, good enough, excuse me. Ryan, you aren't exercising, not moving around enough. See, we have these tools already in the environment, and they're more being made every day and more being created, which is so totally awesome. But what's happening to the users? They got all these places to look to find data, to find the information, to find the resources. And then when you try to make correlations between it, there's like, well, maybe that kind of tips over there. Let me look over here. Slide the screen over. Just do it. Yeah, I think so. Let's make the window smaller so we can fit them together. I think so. I wish I could just overlap them so I know. You know. But what would happen? What would life be like if you didn't have to do all that finickiness, where all your information was yours to keep and own, and you brought it into an environment that allowed you to find patterns, find correlations, find out where you're inefficient in your life and where you can find efficiencies. We think we know, but that's our egos telling us that. That's our little mind telling us that we know. We don't know. We have no freaking clue. The programs that run inside of our mind all the time, they prevent us from knowing what exactly the truth is. Now, if you document everything, that's fantastic, because you're starting to take a control step that way. Most people don't want to document. They don't want to go through all that time and headache. Most people don't want to do anything. They just want to change. They just want what they want when they want it. But what happened in my story, in my life, is I didn't think I was spending all that much time in email. Like, yeah, maybe an hour a day, maybe a couple hours a day, maybe more than that. Maybe on my phone, maybe on these little times that was like 2 minutes here, 2 minutes there. Those add up. Those are the ones I didn't know about. I didn't think about it. I didn't add that to the equation of my email. But I had a software tell me, hey, you spent thousands of hours in email this year. Ah! I totally know. And it said, here's your longest emails. Here's what he did. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's awesome, right? So doing that with your behavior, Identifying your behavior and those patterns gives you a shock. Ah! Whoa, really? Now it's on top of mind awareness. Now every time I get into email, I'm like, do I really need to get into email? I don't want that number to go up. I don't want to do that. I want to spend more time in life. Or, hey, yeah, I do really want to get an email. Let me get into it. Okay, got my point across, boom, done. It's definitely helped me shorten my email messages. Be concise and clear and to the point. Okay, so pretty sweet. And I also challenge you that this would happen in multiple areas of your life. For an example, let's say you had a spoon, a particular spoon that measured the food that you ate, or a straw. Heck, there's cups already out there like this. Okay, that knew what you're eating, identified it, and it got smarter the more you ate. And in fact, it got even smarter when other people ate because it was able to identify what's in there. And by just doing what we already are doing as humans in our behavior, but integrating a technology piece to measure and calculate, because that's what technology does so well, is they measure and calculate, and they store information in long storage lifespans versus our minds, our short-term memory, and if we can transition into long-term memory, not usually for a lot of people. But what if there was a way that, hey, it said your memory, you put in a trigger saying, hey, my memory's kind of bad lately. Pound tag memory and pound tag down, or hashtag down, pound tag, pound tag, hashtag, whatever. And it says, oh, you're looking for these 2 bits of information. Is there any correlations with other stuff? Blah, blah, blah. Yes, there is. Hey, we found that if you are sleeping less and, you've only had 7 hours of sleep based on your sleep tracking. Remember, this is all your information. If it's just measuring your sleep tracking, and then it says, hey, your O2 sensor on your watch or whatever says you're not getting enough oxygen, you're not breathing enough, and you haven't even had a glass of water today, yo. Duh, no wonder why your memory isn't working. Problem, your memory's not working. Reaction, oh, you get this information, and then here's a solution from the information, right? And then you make the behavior change. So, oh, I guess I need to breathe in, go drink that glass of water, or gallon, and I'll get some more sleep tonight. So I'm going to set my alarm for 20 minutes earlier. Pretty sweet. So when humans have more information to make better decisions, they're able to make better decisions and not just on a whim. Our brains are not designed to calculate information and store information very long. They're just not. And it's okay. We don't have to have them be that way. We don't have to be that way. We don't have to live that way. But we should always challenge ourselves to grow and grow our capabilities. So games are fun. But what if we had a computer? What if we had machines, not just a computer, but machines that did all this for us and we didn't have to make any changes? And what if this technology was cheap? Dude, we're finding $100 per device. That's pretty cheap. So sleep tracking and like accelerometer and like brain scanning, right? Like stuff is cheap. I bought a $700 brain scanner. It's a year behind in development. Gotta love Kickstarter. I learned that experience. Now I know next time, if it's a hard technology feat, do I want to put my money down on this? I don't know. It's questionable now. Now I've learned that piece of information. I'm gonna question that next time. So I got 2 pieces of technology coming out in December. One is a wristband that measures what you're actually doing. It figures out, oh, you're doing burpees or push-ups or sit-ups or pull-ups or whatever. And so I'll have information now available to me, and then I'm going to be buying the cup and all that other stuff. So, but the question comes down to, and this is where the problem, the solution, or there's an opportunity here. Problem is, you get all this information. How do you consolidate that? How do you get it into a place where it's meaningful, where you can do something with it that's smart, that becomes more intelligent the more you use it? And I called this GUI. GUI is more than just a graphical user interface. GUI is a processing powerhouse that is decentralized, self-contained, and only available to you and a few select people if you are available or you set some rules up to get access to it. So the security behind getting access to it is very awesome, and it gets better with time. It's so cool. It actually gets stronger with time, and the more you experience in the world. So the more unique experiences you have in your life, how many people around you do you know have had the same experiences? And that was your password. That was that is your passwords. Like that is extremely powerful. That is extremely powerful in hacker preventative. But it connected to a decentralized system, right? That had pieces of the node. It was just like flakes. It was like snowflakes, right? But because when you logged in or when you connected with the interface, right? And you said, here's a password, log in, they make an encryption connection, right? And that encryption connection then captures all your information, organizes it in a meaningful way, and it's encrypted straight to you. It's a pipe, it's a tunnel, right? You're basically taking the waveform and you're collapsing it. Now you've got a particle function, right? Now you can connect to it. So in the cloud, it's the wave of your information. And then when you connect to it, makes that connection. Okay, cool. So what if this technology was able to be used, it didn't matter where it was being used, whether it was on a smartphone, a tablet, anything. It actually has a user interface that is developed by the users. This is essentially like an API platform with processing power behind and storage. It's decentralized and using the network to encrypt. So it's decentralized processing power and it's decentralized networking. Decentralized storage, processing power, networking. Interesting. Okay, so with that being said, some interesting factors to consider, and then, but I always want to come from a user perspective. How does a person integrate with this technology and use it for their own purposes? That's valuable, and it's not hard and intensive, and actually increases user adoption. See, that's one of the biggest issues with technology is the lack of user adoption. And I don't want this to have issues with user adoption. I want this to have complete user intuitive creation. Okay, so it's not about complexity, but simplicity, and focus. So for an example, let's take a search bar. Okay, we'll actually talk about that in the next video. If you're wanting to know more how this can actually be put together in a way that's like makes sense and purposeful and valuable, then I'm going to post a link in here. It's going to be around this video somewhere, maybe below it in the description if you're watching this on YouTube, or it's around. I might even make it appear right here in the video depending on where you're watching this at. So if you want to know more about this and kind of go along this little journey with me of how GUI is changing the world, then I invite you to come along and share with you. I also got some really cool stuff I want to give away too. So, but yeah, you'll find out what that is when you come in. I'll talk to you soon. See you on the other side. Oh!